Hi, I'm Melanie Barr. Welcome to the She Built It Experience with Melanie. You're here because you want to experience the life and business that you crave. Join me as I talk to women who have successfully built it, a career and business that they love. We dive into the topic of how they built it and talk about everything from having the courage to make career leaps to the details of how to lead effectively, create successful teams, implement strategies for growth, and infuse tech innovation. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. So let's dive in. Elyse Kaye is a founder, investor, CEO, and branding lover. She brought Bloom bras to life out of a frustration of not being able to find a sports bra that fit. What is super interesting is that she brought together top minds from NASA, shipping and packaging experts, and Oprah's corset designer to bring her vision to life. They are now the most body-inclusive line on the market. Elyse, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Can you please tell us more about who you are and about your early career experiences before becoming the founder and CEO of Bloom Bras?
Yes, I spent my career running innovation and marketing for consumer products companies. I spent a lot of time working on what consumers wanted and that manufacturers could actually make. I'm really good with people and with understanding the nuances of product development, and innovation. And my other super strength, I would say, is storytelling. And so one of my favorite things about your podcast is hearing the stories behind why people started companies or why they founded a product, which leads me to Bloom Bras. So I wrote the business plan for Bloom Bras when I was right out of college. I sat on it for about 17 years before I finally said, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And I had all of this experience, so I knew all the reasons why not to start a consumer products company. But when I started to really learn the numbers and the market, and of course, it being my issue and my story, it became the thing that kept me up every night.
I love that. And it's so interesting when we put something out to the universe. You know, you put that out to the universe so long ago, and it's so interesting and inspiring to learn that you ultimately created it and built it.
Yeah, a lot of times for me, if I've got an idea, I'll start to sketch out a business plan just because it's fun. It's something that I enjoy. But for this particular product line, I started to really delve into the numbers, and 70% of women are a D cup or above. The average dress size now in the US is between a 14 and a 16, which is a 44 or 46 band size. I am naturally a 32 double G, and I'm a runner and I'm a dancer and I'm a yogi, and I could never find a sports bra that fit me.
I love that you enjoyed writing a business plan, writing out plans and coming up with creative ideas. It's not fun for everyone.
No, it definitely isn't. And I think that's why so many people shy away from actually following their dreams of creating something. But writing a business plan doesn't have to be intimidating. There's great tools out there online that you could even download a free business plan template. And it's really just the who, the what, the where, the how. And when you actually start to have to answer those questions, it gives you, at least for me, it gives me the outline of what additional questions do I have to ask? What resources would I need? And then the most important one is, am I actually willing to do this? Because saying something and putting it in the universe is very different than actually making it happen. I mean, as you know, you put your blood, sweat, tears, all of your money, all of your relationships, everything into it when you start something and have visions of it growing enormously big.
You're so right, because as an entrepreneur, you have to have that passion and that drive to wake up every day and want to move the ball forward and move the company forward.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey.
How has your early career experiences influenced you as a business leader and in leading your company? And how does that experience help your clients, your leadership style, and assist you in managing your business today?
So that's a great question. I've had the benefit throughout my career of working for amazing mentors, but also working for some people with difficult personalities. Because I work in manufacturing, it's very male dominated. So as a female, I think I had to learn my leadership skills. I had to learn how to best maneuver through difficult situations because it's manufacturing. Best laid plans don't exist. So you have to think about everything with contingency plans. Whenever I approach any new project, it's always, here's how I want things to go. Here's all the things that could go wrong. Here's all the resources. Here's the network. And here's how I envision getting from point A to B to C to D versus going from A to Z. Some things that have been really important to me is surrounding myself with people who are way smarter than me, who've been there and done that in certain areas that I can reach out to and get assistance in. Also with hiring, bringing on people for all those things that I know that it's not my strength. I would say as a leader in the community, it's also listening and talking to your community. So one of the things that's always been so interesting is I never set out to be a body positive activist, even though that was something that I feel strongly for. When starting Bloom Bras, we originally were going with a smaller size range, but then I started to get all these requests and started to talk to more and more people in the community, and the whole company pivoted. And so instead of focusing on people who are a certain size, we went with a much broader size range, which changed the whole dimension of the company. And I think being a good leader is really listening to your community, listening to your staff, listening to your manufacturing partners, and then making decisions that are going to be best for the future growth, not necessarily the right now growth.
It was so great that you listened and that you had that flexibility to make that change. And I have to ask, you worked with people from NASA, you worked with people from packaging. Can you tell us about that whole experience and how it all came about?
Absolutely. So I kept saying, if we take the word boob out of the equation, right, it's really a weight distribution problem you're trying to solve. So not a design flaw, but an engineering issue. And so I kept looking at things like, for instance, I was doing an aerial yoga class at the Silk. There was this like 300-pound man that was just cocooning so comfortably in the silk. And I kept looking at it going, why wouldn't we be utilizing something like that for a bra? If it could hold up a 300-pound man, or I'd watch movers lifting like a piano and using a pulley system. And again, I kept saying, you wouldn't use the same mechanism to carry a 3-pound rock as you would a 12-pound rock. So I don't understand why we're not addressing this as engineers. And so I reached out to folks from the shipping and packaging industry. And then I happened to get connected at an event with a woman who's an astronaut from NASA who was working on what happens to your body as you're coming back from outer space. And I was like, oh my gosh, how interesting, because our bodies fluctuate 10% a month naturally. And if you're a B cup, it's not a big deal. But if you're a triple D, that's a full cup size. So she and I started talking. And so she helped to consult on some of the materials and seams, and then finding the right design. You know, I interviewed dozens of designers, but I kept saying, I don't want this to be a sports bra. I want to take it away and I want to start from scratch and say, if we were going to create a weight distribution system, what would it look like? And so I got connected with a woman, Camilla Huey, who is the corset designer for all of the ballerinas and opera singers, and yes, Oprah and Katy Perry and Aretha Franklin, and you know, the list goes on. And she was integral in helping me to bring my vision to life. And so working with my network, was able to get in touch with eventually a factory that was my dream factory.
Cheers to you, because even learning the manufacturing is hard enough. And then you have all the other aspects of the business to run on top of the challenge of manufacturing. So good for you.
That part was actually really fun, because it meant getting into the materials, and it meant taking this thing that had been stuck in my head and actually seeing it in real life. And then when we got the prototypes, I reached out on Facebook to a group of females and just said, I know this is a really weird request, but I'm looking for women that are within these sizes to come test a prototype. I had 165 women show up at my 1-bedroom apartment to provide feedback. But one of the things that was really great about that was, if you put 10 women who are all, let's just say, a 38 triple D next to each other, they're going to look different. They're going to feel different. They're going to hold differently. They're going to have different desired outcomes. based on the age, based on the demographic, based on if they've had kids or not. And so it was really great for me to be able to have that real-time feedback. And then also that helped me to understand the language to use and the way to actually come out with a bra that was truly all-inclusive.
And what positive feedback for you that there was such a need that many women showed up to test your prototype?
When we launched our Kickstarter, we had 270,000 people come through the Kickstarter page and Facebook page within the first 3 weeks without any paid spend.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think about.
That's amazing. Can you tell us about a particular life or business experience that is memorable to you and that you carry with you today?
I would say one of my favorite experiences in business was actually a huge failure. I got to work on a product line for Black & Decker. We did this huge consumer research project, and it was working on paper shredders of all things. We went into people's homes and saw that most people kept their paper shredders up on a shelf in a closet, and they had a fear of their hand getting caught or their child running into an exposed blade. And so we started playing around with innovations, and eventually we came up with taking the blade and fully enclosing it and making it vertical instead of horizontal. It was this beautiful product. We won every award. Like all of the retailers were clamoring to put it in the stores. And it was this huge ego boost because it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then it did not sell. I mean, it was like, it tanked so hard, but it was such a fun project to work on. And it was a life lesson that best laid plans don't always work out the way you want them to.
And it's amazing how you did so much research now for your product, probably as a result of going into that one.
For Bloom Bras, I was creating a bra for me. I almost didn't care at the beginning what anybody else said. I was adamant that there were no underwire. I was adamant that anything that touched your skin had to be soft and breathable. I wanted all of the adjustments. I really wanted something that was going to also look good. Everything that I was designing was really designing for me. But now that I see it on such a wide range of body types, it's the biggest joy for me to be able to hear people say, I've never been able to find a bra that worked. This solves my problems. It's just, I cry at least like once a day because that was how I felt. None of the bra companies out there were hearing or cared about women like me. And so I took matters into my own hands.
It doesn't sound like they were listening. And some of the best products come from a personal need.
Exactly. Now that being on this side of the table, you realize when you start looking at these companies, like I use Spanx as my business idol, right? When Sarah Blakely set out to create Spanx, she wasn't necessarily setting out to create this multi-billion-dollar company. She was setting out to solve a problem. When she saw that there were many other women who had the same problem, she just kept persisting and persisting and persisting until eventually the company became what it is now, where Spanx is a household name. You know, that's my dream, that Bloom Bras at some point becomes a household name, because there's so many of us that are not being heard right now.
Right. And I think it was her father that used to ask her at the dinner table, how have you failed today? And I think that's such a great lesson.
It's such a great lesson.
For entrepreneurs and anyone building a business or growing their corporate career, it's like failures are part of the deal.
Oh, yeah. I had somebody who wrote a horrible review on us. Essentially, she never got the product. She had sent in the wrong address and we sent it. And then somehow or other, the second one that we sent, she never got that one either. And wrote just like this horrible review and put it on all of our Facebook ads and all of our this. At first, I was devastated. I picked up the phone and I called her and said, I'm not sure what we have done. I know we could have done a lot of things better, right? We could have tracked the package. At the end of the day, I really just want you to have the bra. And I don't care what it costs me. I'm going to overnight this to you and please just accept it. And you don't have to take down the reviews, but I want you to know that when you write a review like that, it actually hurts a company and it really hurts the momentum. Anyway, she ended up writing me like the nicest email back being like, I'm sorry, it wasn't a reflection of the bra, even though like the whole message is like, your models are ugly, the bra is terrible, blah, 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 all this negativity. And she was like, I'm going through a divorce. I'm going through this. I'm going through this. I'm going through this. And I said, you know what? Have another one, because I don't ever want there to be negativity out there. There's so many ways that we can help each other and boost each other up. But if we're going to fail, let's fail for good reasons together.
That so speaks to your character, because so many people would not have picked up the phone and done that. And you proved to her too that you have a good product.
Yeah, she loves it now. We talk all the time.
Oh, good. And that also speaks to your character of turning a negative review into a friend.
The beauty of having an online business is that you can constantly connect with your customers. We were doing, prior to the pandemic, which is crazy that it was actually well over a year ago, but we were doing pop-ups all over the country. That gave me such joy because I could actually get out and I could talk to women all day about their problems and how to find the right size. It's the biggest challenge, right? Is finding the right size. Most of us don't know what bra size we wear. And so being able to get out there in the community and be able to talk to women face to face and watch as they interact with the product, so that as we start to iterate on our next products and we start to grow out the product line, we can take all of that real-time feedback and integrate it. That's the beauty of a small business.
It's so great, isn't it? That now we're even more virtual. We were virtual before, but now there's just so much more opportunity to reach people all over the world.
Right. In this time, more and more people have been on their computers. So our sales have actually been through the roof in 2020. Every month we are exponentially stronger than the month before.
Good for you.
Our repeat sales, that's where it's all driving from. There's been a lot of bad things that happened as a result of the pandemic, but one of the positives for us has been more and more women are at home exercising.
I was just going to say Peloton. I'm addicted to my Peloton every morning. Otherwise, my mood and my day does not quite go every other day. I mean, even if I get a 20-minute workout in, but I could see how you would be selling a lot more sports bras because we're all living in our workout clothes so much today.
Right. I think now that we're there, I also don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
I don't either.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage to make your leap to launch your business? You mentioned having your business plan for 17 years, but when did you decide and say, okay, I'm going to make this leap and I'm going to go for it?
I was about to turn 40 and my body was changing again. And I had this epiphany that I had spent my career creating products for other people. And this was the product I wanted for me. I live in the Bay Area where there's a lot of products that get funded that make it to market that are not great products and that don't address a huge market. And I kept saying, okay, so 70% of women are above a D cup and there's over 3 million new moms a year. And 1 in 8 women are breast cancer survivors. And women over 60 or, women who are like entering into or have gone into the menopause years of their lives are asking for the same thing. We're all asking for a bra that's comfortable, adjustable, breathable, and that doesn't make us feel like we're wearing a suit of armor. And so if I looked at those 4 pillars, I said, that's a lot of the US population. And even if my product isn't the end all be all, I just want to start to address this because most of the lingerie brands out there are run by men and they're not listening to the issues, as our bodies are changing. And so they gave me this big push and I knew that if I didn't do it, I would always question it. And I said, now's my time. And there's a really funny side story to this. I had done some drawings and then I had made the decision I wanted to move forward, but naming a company is really hard. So I had like lists and lists and lists of names, but I had this one name that I really wanted, which was Bloom Bras. but the domain wasn't available. I tried a couple different variations and I was like, well, okay, I want it to be simple. And so maybe one of these other names. And I kept coming back to it. And finally it came time to file all the paperwork to start the company. I was like, okay, I actually really now need a name. And 3 a.m, I typed it in again, bloombras.com, and it was available for $9. I put my credit card in and I went to bed. I was like, I think I probably just wasted $9. I think I must have misspelled something. I don't know. It's 3 a.m. And woke up the next morning, sure enough, and it's like, you're the proud owner of bloombras.com. So I called up my parents, and my aunt was visiting them at the time. And I told them, hey guys, I got the name. I got bloombras.com. So my grandmother, who I was extremely close with, who gave me a lot of things in life, including my love of food and travel, but also my big boobs, died of breast cancer years ago. And so it seemed fitting to name the company after her. And my aunt said, oh, is that because your great grandmother was a corset maker? And I said, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, yeah, great grandmother Bloom was a corset maker. So I had no idea of any of this. So it was like this kismet situation. And that also really just gave me, we were talking earlier about the universe. The universe has given me so many signs throughout this entire process, even times when I wanted to quit. And there've been a lot. The story is not one of, oh, I made a product and it sells out and yay, we're all happy and moving forward. I mean, there's been ups, downs, lefts, rights, and the emotional and financial burden of starting a company is a real thing.
How amazing to carry on your grandmother's legacy. Yeah. And what confidence that you can carry forward as you continue to grow the business. And I love how thoughtful you have been about the entire business, from every piece and every aspect of the business. What do you enjoy most about what you do now?
The people, by far. So when I get a chance to interact with our customers in our community and talk to them about bras, that makes me so happy. And to be able to now see, because obviously we've shipped tens of thousands of bras out there. So now to be able to see it on women of different shapes and sizes and stages of life, and to get the feedback, positive and negative, but to actually be able to see it now come to life, like that is the greatest gift that I've been given, is to be able to see that and to be able to talk to these people and to be able to look to the future and say, how do I continue to create and to empower us to feel good when we're moving?
And to know that you've helped them.
Yeah, it's such a rewarding experience.
From the manufacturing to running the business, I know it's a lot. What is your strategy for management, for staying on task to accomplish what you set out to do, as well as motivating your teams and those around you?
I have to have a daily plan. So in normal times, I'm an early riser. So I get up at 4:40 every morning. I say my little gratitude and do a little meditation. I get my workout done early so that when everything else happens, right, when life happens, when the day starts and everybody's running around, I've already gotten that out of my way. And I also make a to-do list of all the things that are top priority. So everybody's got their own management style, but for me, the way that I stay on task and don't get distracted by shiny things, I try to carry that forward, with my team, try to make sure that they know that they're empowered to make decisions, and that as long as things keep with the ethos of the company. As of right now, we're an all-female team. We move fast. We work as a group. I try not to let silos happen. So even little things like if we're going to create a new ad campaign, it shouldn't be just one person. It needs to be a collaborative effort. And so that everybody feels like they have a little bit of ownership in each decision that's made.
I love that you say shiny things, because there's so much pulling at us today, push notifications and advice on how to do everything, it seems, and shopping. Such good advice to do the to-do list and the priority list, because then you get the truly important things done by the end of the day.
Right. When I was starting the company, I went through an end of a relationship. I'll never forget, I started scheduling in, I called them I mean, it's funny to think of now, but I called them my pity parties, and they were 15-minute blocks where I could cry, I could journal, I could do whatever I needed to do, burn sage, burn pictures, however you handle it. But I scheduled those in because I was like, I don't have time right now to process that. I'll deal with that when I have time. But right now I need to keep things moving forward. A psychologist might disagree with me, but it was actually really beneficial because after a while, I didn't want those 15-minute pity parties. I had too many other things that I was trying to move forward on that helped to keep me focused.
That is such great advice because you allowed yourself to feel, but you did it in a very organized way to where it didn't consume your life. And you gave yourself that chance and you said, okay, it's just like when something happens and you say, okay, by tomorrow night, I'm going to give myself the time. But I love how you did that in 15-minute increments to be able to keep moving the ball forward for your business. Really smart. And I know not every day in business is a good one, but clearly you have so much joy from talking to your customers and your clients and learning about them and building those relationships. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. What is one tip that you can leave with us today about how you find and live your joy?
This sounds very cliche, right? But there's joy in so much of the little things that we do. So whether that's spending time with my family or a conversation, a glass of wine with a girlfriend, or going on a run or a hike. I live in the Bay Area. And so sometimes my biggest joy is just being able to be out in nature and being able to take a look around and be like, this is pretty amazing that this is the life I get to lead. And if I can remember that through the next 3 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours of my day, then all the other things that maybe don't bring me as much joy won't compare to it.
It's so true. And I think COVID really brought this back to all of us, is enjoying those small moments. I mean, you're so right. Sometimes you just say, I'm going to enjoy and find joy in this cup of coffee, right? And then you really feel that, and it kind of pulls you to the next thing that you have to take on.
Right. I just went on this very long walk with a girlfriend of mine. We were laughing so hard and we started talking just in song lyrics. It's amazing where your brain goes, right? All of a sudden you start remembering lyrics to 90s hip hop songs, but I have no idea what I had for breakfast today. Right. But we were making each other laugh so hard. And I was like, I needed that, right? That was joy. That was innocent joy that for the rest of the day, I just had a smile on my face.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today and the story of Bloom Bras. And thank you to our listeners around the world. Can you please tell us where and how we can find you?
Absolutely. So our website is bloombras.com. That's BLOOMBRAS. And we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We currently service sizes 28C to 56L.
If you are new to She Built It, we'd love for you to join us. We offer community memberships, masterminds, innovative virtual events, and meaningful connections to entrepreneurs and corporate leaders. Please also check out our She Built It shop, curated products from women-owned businesses who put their heart and soul into their beautiful and innovative products. We offer She Built It business consulting and the She Built It blog. Thank you to everyone around the world who joined today. Thank you to my editor, Rich Straffolino. Please download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, together, let's let nothing stop us from experiencing the life that we crave.